What is going on, everybody? It's Matt Marchese, also known as Islanders Daily, your daily news for the four-time Stanley Cup champions, New York Islanders, and it was certainly a tough night tonight. For me personally, I'm sure for a lot of people, the Islanders fall to the Rangers 3-2. I just had to watch the Jets lose a horrendous game per usual. So definitely a losing night all around, but the Islanders lost this game 3-2 to the New York Rangers, and it's certainly a discouraging loss, to say the least. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch the game because once more is only on NHL Network, which unfortunately I do not have, and I don't live on the Long Island area or in New York, so I don't get the games locally. So it was a game that I could not watch, but I was following along via highlights and updates on X to see what was going on in the game, and it's certainly a bad loss. The Islanders had essentially their whole team playing in this game, and the Rangers had their whole AHL team playing in this game essentially, and the Rangers were still able to win 3-2. Yes, the Rangers had Igor Shesterkin going, but he only played for 1.5 periods, I believe, and the Islanders would fall 3-2 in overtime, and that's definitely discouraging. I actually do think the Islanders played okay. I mean, they outshot the Rangers 32-19, but just a really, really bad game by David Riddick, and he did talk about it, David Riddick, in the post game of today, and he said that he was not reading the puck well tonight at all. He said he had bad reads, and it was on him completely that he was giving up those goals. Wah then says, if he says that he had a couple bad reads, I'm on his side. I know that he's a great competitor. He's going to do everything to help the team, and I have a lot of trust in him. So David Riddick, just a poor game, but I'm not too worried about it in the grand scheme of things, as I think Riddick is a solid goaltender. Obviously a bad game in preseason, but what are you going to do? Hopefully it happens in preseason and not the regular season. But with David Riddick playing this whole game, I think that obviously confirms that he will be the backup to Ilya Sorokin this season, and it would be Hogberg being the third goalie as well as the starter in the AHL, I believe. And Varlamov, I know we've talked about it, but he just seems like, I don't know, he seems like a lost cause at this point, Semyon Varlamov. I don't know if he'll ever play another game in his career, and I don't know if he does, if it will be for the New York Islanders, because something happened with his knee, and it's clearly just not going good for him. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and he's clearly out of it. The two goals by the Islanders were scored by Anthony Duclair and Tony DeAngelo. And Anthony Duclair, I thought, played pretty solid today. Matt Barzal as well played a really strong game from what I could see. The pass was a good right feed right in front to Duclair and tapped it in the slot area. Actually, a little closer than the slot area. Shesterkin did get a piece of it, but it was able to just trickle on behind him. But the Islanders then, lost in overtime. But actually, I really thought Scott Mayfield, from what I was reading, has been playing very solid so far this year. I don't know if him getting paired with Matthew Schaefer has upped his game, as he wants to be the veteran presence for Schaefer and help him improve as a player and be there for him. But I've been really liking what I've seen from Scott Mayfield. And then I think that first defensive pairing of DeAngelo and Romanov has been really strong as well. And I think Tony DeAngelo might be our most underrated player. I know that he's gotten a bad rap before for things he's said. He's gotten in fights, just his personality. But I think he's really solid, and I think he's a good fit for the New York Islanders. He does everything we ask of him. He's, not going to be outstanding defensively. He's a solid defenseman. But at the end of the day, Romanov fills up that strong defenseman part where he easily slots into that offensive part. But I think he's a good enough defenseman. I actually think Tony DeAngelo is a better defenseman. I think he's better than Noah Dobson when you really think about it. Yes, maybe Dobson had more of the offensive potential, but Tony DeAngelo, I think, is better defensively than Noah Dobson and can offer just nearly as much offensive ability. So I really like Tony DeAngelo. I'm happy the Islanders re-signed him. And he's going to have a lot to prove this year. And hopefully, he's able to do it and have a successful season. And I think this game cements that Matthew Schaefer will be on the team full time. Obviously, he had another great play coming back on a breakaway from Matt Rempe to block that one and not, he dives and hits it with the stick, just his stick on Rempe's stick. Just a really strong play right there by Matthew Schaefer. And I know we have someone in the comments who hates Matt Schaefer and is always, dissing on him, saying he needs to put on 20 to 30 pounds before he can actually start playing. And that's just unrealistic. He's not even a grown man yet, Matthew Schaefer. He's only 18 years old, and he just recently turned 18, Matthew Schaefer. And for him to be playing at this level at 18, yes, it was against the Rangers AHL team, but still, he is playing at a level that I have not seen in Islanders defenseman. Like, I have not had this much hope for a player than I have had for Matthew Schaefer. He just looks like he has the potential to be a generational superstar. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx anything, of course. But he just looks good. And that's all we can ask for. He's 18 years old. As he ages, he will develop more, he'll gain more muscle, and he'll just grow into a more player. And that youth is something that's going to, certainly help him and the Islanders in the future, as the youth movement should be in full effect for the New York Islanders soon enough. Obviously, we still have some veteran guys. We have Casey Cizikas, and you guys all know how I feel about Casey Cizikas. I just don't see a world in where he should be playing for the Islanders this season. But yeah, I just think that everything Schaefer has been doing, he's been doing everything well. And this is what Patrick Waugh had to say about Matthew Schaefer. I don't know what his ceiling is, to be honest. I feel like it's exciting to see him play. If I'm a fan coming to the game, it's pretty impressive the way that he skates. The way he skates with the puck on the rush offensively, and he seems to defend very well. And he'll just keep improving, and I think the best way for him to improve is just to throw him into the NHL right away. And obviously, I think he is the best skater that we have on the team besides Matt Barzal, and that's huge praise coming right away to be one of those best skaters. But besides that, I thought, it was an average game for the Islanders. I liked it was Siplikov's first preseason game. I thought he played solid, and the Islanders, they lost this game. I thought they outplayed the Rangers, but they still lost. The Islanders finding ways to lose. It seems like all my teams find ways to lose, which is definitely not healthy for the mental health of being a fan of these sports teams, of course. But on the grand scheme of things, the Islanders will have one more preseason game, and hopefully this is just a tune-up, get ready for the regular season right before we play the Pittsburgh Penguins. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to have the preseason end and get into the regular season quickly, because it should be an exciting season. Will the Islanders make the playoffs? I can't say yes or no. Will they win the Stanley Cup? Again, can't say yes or no. Who knows? It's completely up in the air, and it will all depend on how the Islanders are coached, how they play, and how the special teams look this season. Because last year, the fact they almost made the playoffs with that abysmal special teams was a miracle. And they need to improve on that, and I'm excited just to get into the regular season and start watching real competitive hockey. And yeah, it should be a good one. So as always, if you guys have any comments that you want me to talk about in future videos, or just respond to your comments, leave them down below. And yeah, as always, let's go Islanders.